Hello friends, how are you today? I hope you're doing well. I am here to read from chapters 21 through 23 of my debut memoir, Dark World Lightwork. I do apologize, in the last video I said the wrong chapter numbers, but I did put the right numbers in the description. And I also wanted to make a little note that Nemo really doesn't appear anymore in these excerpts. He appears a little bit more in the story, and I saw him one time after the incident from the last chapter, and it was not in a romantic capacity whatsoever. But I just wanted to let people know in case they wonder what happened to him. I have tattoos that say once around, and there is a chapter in this book called Pillar of Salt. So looking back is not really my thing. And in the interest of moving forward, we are going to move on to the next chapters, which are Annihilation, Rebirth, and Born Again. Okay. I drove us to the hospital, but my grandmother was in charge of getting us home. Because of all the stress surrounding the morning already, the thought that she might have trouble completing this task never crossed my mind. "I don't remember how to get home and I'm worried," she said in disbelief as we were walking to the car. "I can't drive," I told her. I could barely even see. I was still unbelievably drowsy and the sun was blinding me already. I needed to lie down. I could not pull focus. My head was spinning. The madness simply would not stop. I was heartbroken. The pain in my heart was so intense that I was sure that this world was another planet's hell. "I really don't think I can drive your car," my grandmother said with even more tension in her voice. "Then we're going to have to go back inside," I cried. "I can't always be the heavy. I need help too sometimes." Composed herself. "I can drive if you can give me the directions." I was devastated. I could navigate our way home, but I didn't want to. I wanted to lie down and close my eyes. I wanted a break for 25 minutes, but that wasn't happening. I knew that the anesthesia was the only thing holding my sanity together. The clock was ticking. My grandmother and I sat in the car for a moment. She was in the driver's seat. I sat in the passenger seat. It was a warm August morning. We both had our doors open while she tried to gather the courage to start the engine. As high as I'd ever been in my life, I assumed that the drugs had some impact on the psychedelic nature of the near-death experience. I was confident that the spirit was responsible for the rest. I cleaned my bathroom and my room. I washed all my clothes and linens. I buzzed around the house for hours. It seemed like I finished each task in minutes. I wanted to sleep, but I was way too wired. I could barely blink. The sun was as bright as I'd ever seen it. I could feel the rays through the walls of my room. I was by no means happy, but I felt refreshed. I felt like I'd gone for a run. My lungs were clear and I had energy. I decided to take Clementine for a walk. Before this point, I lived a mostly sedentary lifestyle. My grandmother was the one who walked Clementine. I rarely left the house and I really didn't like to spend time outdoors. I had to ask my grandmother where she kept the leash, but Clem and I finally made it out. As we strolled through the neighborhood, my mind was mostly blank. I just stared at the trees and the leaves. The clouds looked brand new. Clementine took her time to inspect each flower and blade of grass. A thought finally entered my head. What am I supposed to do now? Just then, a tan-colored car drove past. The personalized license plate read, "Try God." "Okay," I replied out loud. I really didn't know what that meant. Hadn't I been doing that the entire time? I'm here on Earth, aren't I? I was sent to a religious school, chosen whether I liked it or not. I felt like I'd tried God. As a matter of fact, I felt as if he was the one trying me. Either way, at the very least, I agreed to try it harder. All right, and the last chapter is Born Again. Getting off of a drug like Xanax was no easy feat, but my heart was set on redemption. There was no looking back. I had only touched drugs briefly, but the mark that it left on my life was everlasting. The first days were literal hell on earth. Kicking drugs is a challenge. The body's dependence on the chemicals becomes painfully evident when one tries to remove them from the system. On a spiritual level, the addict must pull themselves up from the depths of the underworld. The road up to the light is full of obstacles, twists, and turns. However, if your goal is to survive, your own spirit is enough to carry you through. I got into drugs because I was bored and looking to escape. I didn't consider a substance that could be obtained via prescription to be illicit. Therefore, I entered blindly, like a fool. I was desperate for positive stimulation, particularly early days of recovery. Television became shockingly offensive. I found myself only able to tolerate very specific cartoon programming. Everything else was either too violent, sexual, dark, or evil. It was all very ugly. Even some of the cartoons were off-putting. I couldn't just mindlessly flip through channels anymore. I had to carefully curate what I consumed. Television, frequency, tune in, channel, programming. These words started to resonate with me. A person tunes into a channel to view programs. Or is it to be programmed? Media helps to shape your views on life and the world. All right, and that is 21 through 23. And next time we are going to read 24, 25, and 26. And those chapters are called Still I Rise, Tuned In, and Gray Matters. See you next time. Bye.